Okay, webinar is live now. I'll start the actual webinar now. Just Devesh, you can just play the videos in a loop. Huh.
Atlas ISME has the undergraduate program, which is BBA. It is a program which looks at nurturing entrepreneurs, leaders, change makers.
This won't be possible until we do a highly industry integrated, highly immersive, highly experiential learning experience. And therefore we wanted to build a world-class university, a multidisciplinary university.
We believe in choice-based learning, which is the students are given a certain set of courses that they have to learn, which is their core component, and then there's something known as a minor track. So that becomes interdisciplinary within the school.
What happened, Devesh?
Just automatically stopped sharing.
Quickly
Share it
start again. Yeah, please be careful about that.
Experiential learning experience. And therefore we wanted to build a world-class university, a multidisciplinary university.
We believe in choice-based learning, which is the students are given a certain set of courses that they have to learn, which is their core component, and then there's something known as a minor track. So that becomes interdisciplinary within the school domain.
We started off with the basics of finance, entrepreneurship, management and marketing.
BBA offers various different subjects which are a need of the time, like entrepreneurship and business etiquettes, and even principles of management.
We're also learning business law, which really teaches you that, okay, if one day I want to start my business, I need these copyrights, I need these trademarks.
The philosophy of our school is that India needs more innovators. India needs more entrepreneurs, not just job seekers, but job creators.
We have just been inducted into the Babson Entrepreneurship Collaborative, which allows our students to build their startups of the future.
We have a Center of Innovation, Incubation and Entrepreneurship. We do our very own Atlas Shark Tank.
We've had exposure through competition. There's something called as Marketing Mania in the first year.
We ensure that our ecosystem has masterclasses run by organizational heads, CXOs, managing directors, coming in to engage with our students.
We are so close to the industry, right from the time that the curriculum is decided to the way it is delivered in terms of its pedagogy and to the final skill sets that the industry wants from our students.
Industry participates hugely in this entire process. As I said, more than 40% of our faculty come from the industry. That's one of the reasons why we are able to so confidently say that our students are relevant, and they will remain relevant.
So we have a compulsory component of an internship in their summer after every year of their program.
My internships were not just corporate internships. I, in fact, being a business student, interned with a fashion stylist as well, just to understand what goes on behind the scenes of a movie set.
We had about 80 companies come in for placements. We have EY, we have KPMG, BCG, all the big four companies, all the WPP group of companies, and of course we send them to startups as well.
You will also see the Atlas Fellows in New York University, London Business School, London School of Economics, Columbia. They're doing phenomenally well.
This is situated amongst corporates, but the college tries to focus on giving a very wholesome experience to each student.
By participating in club events, by participating in interactions with industry, doing a global immersion, they give them the basics of confidence, critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and compassion. So 5 C's, and you've got it all in a 3-year program. Imagine the final product that is going out there. He or she is definitely going to be the leader of tomorrow, created today.
I often ask the students, what is it about Bombay that draws you? And often the one answer I hear is the freedom to express, the freedom to be. I was born and brought up in Kerala.
I am from Tamil Nadu, the very tip of India.
I originally belong to the hills, Uttarakhand, Nainital. I grew up in Dubai.
I'm from Delhi.
I've been born and brought up in Hyderabad.
This is my first time in Mumbai.
The city actually gives everybody a chance to realize their dream.
Apart from the term that we give, the economic capital of India, I would definitely call Bombay as the design capital of India too. Bombay is a very cultural city, a very diverse city.
Mumbai is capital of a billion dreams, right? Everyone wants to be in Mumbai. You have commerce, you have art, you have retail, you have culture.
There is so much of infrastructure available for making and learning. You go to Churchgate Station, you go to Prince of Wales Museum, you go to NGMA. What that history means, explaining it to them, but not by sitting inside the campus, taking them over there. And Mumbai as a city has been very safe.
I am so thrilled to be in Bombay and use it as an experiential lab for our studies, that too in a business park.
We are surrounded by over 500 companies and corporates in 13 different sectors.
and being surrounded by the corporates, it gives us the opportunity to network and be out there.
So it's very industry focused, and that's what's amazing, because you can't have practical learning in isolation from what the real world or the industry really wants.
We actually have someone or the other from the industry almost every day.
For students to get opportunities to intern or observe or apprentice and eventually get into final placement becomes that much easier because they've been interacting with the industry all along.
My internship was here at Geo Creative Labs, and it's just 15 minutes away from the campus. We used to attend classes from like 9 to 12, so after classes we used to go for internship.
If we have to have an ecosystem where people have the freedom to express, where people have the freedom to innovate and the freedom to grow and evolve, the campus has to speak that vibe.
There's lots of inspiration around each corner that we have here. You fall in love with the place all over again.
This is literally our campus. I think we've encapsulated the whole corporate classroom kind of thing going on over here.
In terms of our classrooms as well, we have transparent corridors. We see what's happening outside. We see the corporate world that's outside.
We've built some of the most fantastic rapid prototyping labs, whether it's the 3D printers in there, whether it's the robots in there.
Fashion lab, there are no walls. The idea is to facilitate easy conversations, interdisciplinary learning.
When we looked at the campus, we saw a canvas for creative collaboration.
The best part of this campus is it is an urban campus.
In spite of being in such an urban setting, it does not make you feel disconnected from nature.
So it's so cool to be able to come here every single day.
It's like a completely different world. There's something about the vibe of this place. There's like a lot of energy over here.
We follow the culture of a family. It's definitely a home away from home.
Is talking about the AQ, which is the adversity quotient, which is more important than the EQ and the IQ.
If you are preparing students for that unknown, our syllabus also has to be like that. And with Atlas Skill Tech University, we have that autonomy to relook at our syllabus practically every trimester to make it more contemporary, make it more futuristic.
We have a total of 6 trimesters. Our first 3 trimesters is the first year. Each subject is compulsory for everyone. Second year onwards, we get to choose between our specializations.
We of course offer marketing and finance as a specialization, but in addition to these 2 traditional streams, we also offer entrepreneurship, we also offer business analytics as a specialization.
We provide dual specialization where they can pick both finance and marketing, finance or analytics.
We have design thinking, UI, UX, research, we have coding. Here I have learned way more than just concepts.
At Atlas, the pedagogy of curriculum delivery, it is experiential learning because a student is exposed to so many different ways of learning.
We do have leadership sessions where we are often put in simulations, we are often taught negotiation skills, business skills.
BKC is the hub of marketing, management, business, finance.
And hence we have the privilege of inviting leading industrialists at our campus. And we also have a very unique program called the Industry Mentorship Program, wherein we have leading industrialists mentoring our students.
We had a global conference for all the marketers and we spoke to the co-founders and CEOs, and I never thought I'd meet them at such a young age.
Students get an opportunity to see them, talk to them, network with them, and also make a pitch to them.
We question the industry and ask them that look at our curriculum and tell us what needs to change. So we make sure the very things that students study every single day is driven by the demands of the industry.
Because of so much of corporate interaction that happens day in and day out, and involvement of people from the industry as our faculty, placement is a very natural outcome.
We have agencies like Geo Creative Labs coming in, we have Leo Burnett, WPP companies,
Colgate, Palmolive, they have Ogilvy, they have Millennial Lintas, Kotak Mahindra Bank, ICICI Bank. These are a few.
We do have global immersions. This year we had students go to UK and they visited a number of corporate houses, and now they are all set that they want to have their businesses set in UK as well along with India.
We have developed a module in their trimester 1 to ideate.
We teach them how to ramp up their creativity, how to get additional ideas, many ideas, new ideas, and finally, after a number of rounds of prototyping and testing, we have something that's ready to launch.
We are also associated with the MSME department of the Government of India, which kind of handholds students who have ideas which can be turned into successful ventures.
And also it's the experience that we are curating, keeping in mind the jobs of the future, keeping in mind the economies of the future, and most importantly, I would say, at Atlas, we're preparing them for life.
I often ask the students, what is it about Bombay that draws you? And often the one answer I hear is the freedom to express, the freedom to be.
I was born and brought up in Kerala.
I'm from Tamil Nadu, the very tip of India.
I originally belong to the hills, Uttarakhand, Nainital. I grew up in Dubai.
I'm from Delhi.
I've been born and brought up in Hyderabad.
This is my first time in Mumbai.
The city actually gives everybody a chance to realize their dream.
Apart from the term that we give, the economic capital of India, I would definitely call Bombay as the design capital of India too. Bombay is a very cultural city, a very diverse city.
Mumbai is capital of a billion dreams, right? Everyone wants to be in Mumbai. You have commerce, you have art, you have retail, you have culture.
There is so much of infrastructure available for making and learning. You go to Churchgate Station, you go to Prince of Wales Museum, you go to NGMA. What that history means, explaining it to them, but not by sitting inside the campus, taking them over there. And Mumbai as a city has been very safe.
I am so thrilled to be in Bombay and use it as an experiential lab for our studies, that too in a business park.
We are surrounded by over 500 companies and corporates in 13 different sectors.
And being surrounded by the corporates, it gives us the opportunity to network and be out there.
So it's very industry focused, and that's what's amazing, because you can't have practical learning in isolation from what the real world or the industry really wants.
We actually have someone or the other from the industry almost every day.
For students to get opportunities to intern or observe or apprentice and eventually get into final placement becomes that much easier because they've been interacting with the industry all along.
My internship was here at Geo Creative Labs, and it's just 15 minutes away from the campus. We used to attend classes from like 9 to 12, so after classes we used to go for internship.
If we have to have an ecosystem where people have the freedom to express, where people have the freedom to innovate and the freedom to grow and evolve, the campus has to speak that vibe.
There's lots of inspiration around each corner that we have here. You fall in love with the place all over again.
This is literally our campus. I think we've encapsulated the whole corporate classroom kind of thing going on over here.
In terms of our classrooms as well, we have transparent corridors. We see what's happening outside. We see the corporate world that's outside.
We've built some of the most fantastic rapid prototyping labs, whether it's the 3D printers in there, whether it's the robots in there.
Fashion lab, there are no walls. The idea is to facilitate easy conversations, interdisciplinary learning.
When we looked at the campus, we saw a canvas for creative collaboration.
The best part of this campus is it is an urban campus.
In spite of being in such an urban setting, it does not make you feel disconnected from nature.
So it's so cool to be able to come here every single day.
It's like a completely different world. There's something about the vibe of this place. There's like a lot of energy over here.
We follow the culture of a family. It's definitely a home away from home.
It's just all about creating that impact. If you've not made someone's life better, none of that innovation means anything.
I ask them a trick question sometimes. I say, where does money come from? Does it come from the Reserve Bank of India, ATMs, parents? And then the answer is none of the above. Money comes from exchange. You only get money when you make someone else's life better.
As Atlas Skill Tech University, we want to produce designers with a heart, managers with a heart, and technologists with a heart.
This is literally our campus.
It's beautiful aesthetically, also highly equipped with technology.
There's lots of inspiration around each corner that we have here. You fall in love with the place all over again. You fall in love with the idea of why you chose to become a designer.
We have a design school. We have a business school. There is an AI ML school, which is data sciences.
Every semester we get to choose an elective which is not only from our school, but we can choose from any of the other schools at Atlas.
One day we have a student in a robotics class. The next day the same student is visiting the stock exchange. On a third day they're working on a stage and set design in the NCPA.
Our curriculum is designed in such a manner that Mumbai becomes the lab for them to learn.
Mumbai as a city is an emotion.
It's a plethora of cultures, exhibitions, trends.
It's just the vibe overall for someone who's just 19, 20, looking to make their place in the world. When the bird wants to fly and explore and be on their own in a safe environment. And I think Mumbai gives you all of that. I am so thrilled to be in Bombay, and that too in a business park.
We're a hop, skip and jump away from over 500 organizations. So imagine the kind of access an Atlas student would have.
Leading industry, leading academia, and having leading startup leaders in our advisory board.
So you're creating an experience and testing that experience, whether that experience will work in the industry or not.
More than 40% of our faculty come from the industry. That's one of the reasons why we are able to so confidently say that our students are relevant. And they will remain relevant.
The other thing that we have is the need to do internship and apprenticeship after every semester.
The opportunities are immense. We've got pre-placement from IBM, Deloitte, Infosys is coming in, Zook's Innovation.
All of my batchmates who wanted a capstone project landed with a capstone project. The ones who wanted to go for their further studies landed at very good universities.
We've got great curricular partnerships with Parsons, with Vancouver Film School.
University of Bath, Nottingham Trent, Bristol, LSE, Southampton. Atlas really helps you with the collaborations that they have.
At Atlas, we're preparing highly entrepreneurial talent that will not only be the job seekers but also be the job creators of the future.
They are further chiseled, right? It's a sharpened sword.
By interning in the summer, it really gave me a confidence boost to start my own social media agency called Misco. Currently, I'm handling about 15 plus brands.
We have a network of around 80 to 100 freelancers.
I've wanted to recreate the Jaipur foot in under 30,000 and do so in a way that adds value to every single member of society.
The philosophy of our school is to help our students invent things, patent things, launch businesses, and make a positive impact on themselves, their families, their communities, and on this country.
I wanted to go for the army, CIR, that is Center for Artificial Intelligence and Robotics.
I personally am satisfied when I can see that there's a smile on someone's face or that I've made their lives better.
I walk around, I see class buildings, and I imagine myself at the top of them.
I just didn't want to become a CEO that would take over the world. I wanted to become an artist that would take over the world.
Creative people are always, I think, going to flourish in the industry, and we're going to change the world.
From every point of view, every kind of direction that is required for a student to take to the industry, we preset, we pre-embed, and we make it a part of the entire journey so that nobody has to worry at the end of it and say, oh no, where am I going to go from here? It's literally, oh, well, where all can I go from here?
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining in time. Before we begin, I would like to share some points for everyone to note. We have in store for you some profound speakers and dynamic panel discussions throughout the summit. We would like everyone to absorb all the key learnings that the speakers will be sharing. And at the same time, we would like you to engage with our speakers through your questions. you will notice a Q&A section on your screen. I request you all to post your questions for the speakers there, and our moderator will take those at the end of the session. At the end of each session, we will also post a form in the chat. I request each one of you to please fill this form in order to obtain your e-certificate. All e-certificates for the sessions you attend will be sent to you by email after we conclude the summit. So hope you all have noted those pointers. So let me greet you all with a namaste. I am Chetna Asbe, a faculty of finance at Atlas Skilltech University. I extend a very warm welcome to all our dignitaries and my colleagues from academia over 60 countries. We are all here to experience AAROHAN 2.0, the global summit on ESG and sustainability. We would like to mark the beginning of our summit with paying a tribute to our most beloved mentor, who is, I'm sure, watching us from above. We wish to thank him for his invaluable guidance throughout the summit and in all our journeys at Atlas. Sir, you will continue to inspire us, and we hope that we continue to make you proud. So as we try to move on, let us remind ourselves that even in the darkest of times, there is always hope. Let us take a moment to reflect on the power of light and the hope that it brings into our lives. I request everyone to please join me in the virtual lighting of the lamp.
शुभं कुरुध्वं कल्याणं आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते।
So before we kickstart our sessions, we would like to introduce one of India's most innovative institutions of higher learning, Atlas Skilltech University. It would be great to hear about Atlas, its unique programs, student experiences, and what really makes it stand out. So let us have Mr. Abhinav Madan, our Director for Strategy and Growth, explaining to us the uniqueness of Atlas.
You, Professor Aspe. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening to everyone watching from every part of the world. I'm Abhinav, and I will take a few minutes to tell you a little bit about, the Atlas Skilltech University and what our vision is, and what is it that we're really trying to create here in India, in the heart of Mumbai. Atlas is really born with this whole vision of creating leaders of the future, with skills of tomorrow. And there's a large emphasis that we have over here in really closing the kind of skill gap that exists between industry and academia. And as a part of that, which is why we are the first skill tech university in India, where we really focus not just on your curricular academic learning, but really developing the skills of the future, the technology or the digital literacy for the future, and all of that by being in sync a lot more with the industry than academic institutions traditionally are. So a bird's eye view of what the Atlas Skilltech University really is. It's about 4,000 students coming from all over India, over 130 cities, a few from outside of India now. We're largely a lot of focus on industry integrated learning, a lot of focus on research, and a lot of focus on global learning. Within India, we're in India's financial capital, right in the heart of the city. So it's a very, it's an urban campus is what we'd like to believe, unlike the traditional going away from the city model. And in terms of what are the kind of schools and the programs we are primarily three schools. We're the ISD School of Design and Innovation, we're the ISME School of Management and Entrepreneurship, and the UGTX School of Digital Technology. The intent of sort of creating the university of this kind was to bring in the creative, the traditional entrepreneurship, and the technology education to come and intersect under one roof, so that we could really create an explosive center for innovation when you bring in people who are equally left and right brain heavy. In terms of setting up these schools, we also made sure that we have some strong global partnerships. So as you would see for ISD, our design school, we've partnered with the #1 design school of the US, Parsons, and we have a curricular collaboration with them. In terms of management and entrepreneurship, we're in collab with Babson, which is again highly ranked, and UGDX, which is actually an absolute baby, and we're just 2 years into this in this part of our education. We are sort of working, building our collaborations there as well. Now, the types we have in our design school, we have basically Bachelor of Design, which is in multiple fields, which are animation, VFX, communication design, fashion communication styling, fashion design, interiors, product, and the more new section, which is the strategic design management. For the School of Management, we have an undergrad BBA and a postgrad MBA program, and deep diving into areas of entrepreneurship, finance, analytics, as well as marketing. And in our tech school, we're really doing a Bachelor of Technology, focusing on computer science, artificial intelligence, and machine. Now, what we are really is we're an urban campus, as said, where we are really located in Mumbai in India, is right in the heart of the city. And as you can see, we really got about over 500 companies in our immediate radius. What this does for us is it allows for easy integration of our daily practices or education with the industry. So having industry hop over, having our students hop over to the industry is a very for us on a day-to-day basis. Now, this whole vision comes to life of industry integrated learning, because you can see our advisory board is a global and industry and academic integrated advisory board chaired by the former chairman of HDFC, Mr. Deepak Parekh. And then, as you can see, right from leadership of Bain & Company, CIAT, Colgate, Bain Advisory, to like institutions like NYU, Parsons, all of these have come in together to lead the vision of our institution. So it really allows us to truly bring global and industry integrated education to our students in India. Now, our international partners, we have about over 40 international partners from across the world, so right from a Babson to a Bristol to an LSE to a Parsons, and of course, multiple others. We have sort of collaborated with different institutions to bring mobility in student and faculty education, and this is cross mobility. So with our students really moving outside of India, international students coming here and experiencing India, we've created all sorts of avenues for collaboration between different countries. Now all of this has really culminated into some really special moments for us at Atlas in the last 1 year in particular, and we're only about 2 years old right now. So, for example, now when I say we are truly a campus within corporate, right, what it means is that, say, the first Apple store that was set up in Bombay, which was right next to our campus. So the fact that Tim Cook visiting there could hop across to our campus was only possible because we are located where we're located today. And then, he spent an entire afternoon engaging with the students and seeing their projects because, the design and innovation piece was major interest to him. So that is what we're able to do when we say we're, able to bring in industry integrated learning, right? We've signed 40 plus MOUs with leading global universities from across the world. Bringing that international flavor now to our, so we not only focus on international exchange in terms of students going out, but for those who may not have the access to it, we also focus on internationalization at home. So like the International Faculty Week we did last year had over 25 faculty coming in from, leading universities to conduct a massive week-long initiative on our campus for the students. In terms of research, right, we've just been granted the research grant, global grant by British Council in collab with London, working on in the space of entrepreneurship. Then we've had our students also go out, so New York, London, Paris, and if it's a design student going to the Paris Couture Week, or if it is the business students, they're going into the New York Stock Exchange. That's the kind of diverse exposure we really hope to bring to our students. A decade of excellence is what we've had with Parsons as our curricular collaborators now to bring the best of design education to India within India. The Babson Global Summit this year, we're very proud to share, was conducted on our campus, and it was massive collaboration with, again, institutions from across different parts of the world coming in here. In terms of industry integration, what started as really in the last few years has culminated into over 200 CXOs and HR leaders visiting our campus. So as you can see, the chairman of for example, Colgate, or say the country head and the vice president of Google India, or Cisco or Kodak. We've had people coming in from different industries. And, when they come in here, they really do engage with students, review projects. There's sometimes industries who are part of jury assessments. Industries are part of our curriculum review. So we really make sure industry is integrated in different stages of a student's academic journey. A large part of our focus is not just on creating job seekers, but also job creators, right? And very entrepreneurship focused. And it doesn't matter whether a student is in design, management, or the tech school, because entrepreneurship is really for everyone. So we've had over 130 student startups incubated. I'm very proud to share that now the venture labs that we host on our campus is a government recognized, medium-sized micro entrepreneur incubator as well, the MSc, the ministry, recognized by the ministry. Finally, I think it's very important for us to create equity in access to education, and particularly in a country like India, where our national education policy is also looking at improving or advancing our goals of the gross enrollment ratio. Creating that kind of equity is very important for us. As you can see, scholarships with aiding 1 in every 5 students on our campus has been what we've been able to achieve in a very short span of time. And of course, we intend to grow and evolve on that. Now, what all of this eventually for us, what really matters is that, with all the research we do, or the patents we achieve, or the kind of innovation we create, or the experiential learning that we do, it really eventually comes down to what are we able to achieve for our students, or for the youth, right? Really, that culminates into placements. Our students, I'm very, very proud to share that, are working in a diverse set of companies today across industries. So Boston Consulting Group, or an Ernst & Young, or a Google, Amazon, Infosys, in different sphere, McKinsey, Bain, our students are really across the spectrum today and doing great work. For those who really decided to work outside, to study, pursue their masters outside of India, right from a New York university to a London Business School, to Parsons, to UAL, to RCA, really our students have been able to spread their wings in different parts of the world, and they've gone to work in organizations in different parts of the world. So that's something we're very proud of. And finally, and I think which is the most important thing, is that you really want to create leaders with heart, and to be able to use our privilege to have access to this education to sort of create an impact on the nation and beyond the nation is important. So, empowering the community on social projects is a very mandatory part of our curriculum here. So largely that's what we are here to create leaders of the future who can sort of create that impact for our community. And that's my very short overview of what our university is all about. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Abhinav. Since AAROHAN is very close to our heart, we have our founding president and chancellor of the university with us here. Ma'am, hello ma'am, good evening.
Good evening. Namaste.
Ma'am, if you could please.
Yes, thank you so much. We've been very excited about AAROHAN 2.0, and been working for some time, and there's a lot of excitement, even with the faculty and working with universities all over the world. I must say that the topic Global ESG and Sustainability Summit is something that we've been wanting to do for a long time. And I'm so glad, and I should thank Professor Dr. Varsha Agarwal for taking the lead, and all the faculty and all the students who have been involved in taking this on. This is something we wait every year for, and starting it today is very, very exciting, and it's a great day. So first of all, let me welcome First let me welcome our Vice Chancellor, and then welcome our Pro Vice Chancellor and all the faculty who are here. And on behalf of all of them, on behalf of the Atlas Skill Tech University, and on behalf of students and staff of AAROHAN 2.0, let me take this opportunity and welcome you speakers. Dr. Doug Specht from the University of Westminster, Dr. Fiona Spotswood from the University of Bristol, Professor Joseph Alcamo from the University of Sussex, Professor Philip Lindsley from University of York, and of course, Dr. Vivek Soundarajan from University of Bath. All these universities, we've been connected for many, many years, where we have had such close relationships that today it is just very appropriate and really, I must say, a great feeling for all of us that you're all here to participate in AAROHAN. So thank you very much for allowing me to have a quick welcome to our distinguished guests and all our participants. I've seen we've already crossed about 700 participants, and it's going to be a very, very interesting session. So all the best to you, and I'm anxiously sitting through this to listen to what you have to say. Thank you and namaste.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Our energy just doubles with you around. And like Abhinav mentioned, Atlas is not just an academic institution, but a community of learners, innovators, and leaders. And AAROHAN 2.0 reflects this perfectly. This is the second edition of the series, organized by the Student Research Development Cell of Atlas Skill Tech University. So let's understand more about what AAROHAN is all about.
It's a privilege to be able to speak to so many students who I make central to this whole meeting, and also to their faculty, your faculty that makes their learning and growth possible, and to all the business people who contribute to the program of your Global Entrepreneurship and Management Summit. And the same with me. Thank you for this opportunity to meet Atlas and to share your good fortune and good thoughts. Thank you. I will remember this too very memorably. Have a wonderful time. Thank you.
Nostalgia. So this summit truly brings diverse opportunities for all its participants. I would now like to introduce and invite our Vice Chancellor, Dr. Rajan Velukar. Dr. Velukar has been a distinguished academic leader in Indian higher education for over 3 decades. He has served as the Vice Chancellor of the University of Mumbai and has received recognition for his outstanding contributions to research and innovation in India. Sir has been invited to speak at numerous national and international conferences and has published several papers on topics related to higher education and academic administration. I'm honored to invite Sir to share his thoughts with our esteemed participants.
So please unmute yourself.
You're on, sir.
Thank you, Professor Chetna, for inviting me. The Honorable President and Chancellor of the University, distinguished guests, my faculty members, and my dear students. On behalf of the university, it is a great pleasure to welcome you all to this global summit organized by our Student Research and Development Cell. I emphasize on Student Research and Development Cell because we are involving our students in doing research. As the Vice Chancellor of this esteemed institution, I am proud of the hard work and dedication that our faculty, staff, and students have put into making this summit a reality. It is a testament to our commitment to excellence in education and our belief in the importance of engaging with our community. This event is an opportunity for us to come together and share ideas and insights on important topics that affect us all. We are honored to have such distinguished speakers and guests with us during this 5 days long summit, and we look forward to learning from their expertise and experiences. As we navigate the challenges of a rapidly changing world, which we understand, it is more important than ever for us to come together and share our knowledge, our perspectives, and our ideas. Our university has always been a place where people from diverse backgrounds can come together to learn, to grow, and make a positive impact on the world, which is very much needed. So I encourage all the participants to make the most of this event. Take the opportunity to connect with each other, to learn from our speakers, and to share your own ideas and experiences. Together, we can make a difference and create a brighter future for all. And on the topic of this conference, which is ESG, very, very important. Friends, today I stand before you to emphasize the critical importance of environmental, social, and governance principles, commonly known as ESG. In a world grappling with unprecedented challenges, adopting ESG practices is not just a choice. It's not a choice for us. It is a moral imperative and a strategic necessity. Environmental responsibility is our duty to safeguard the planet for future generations, and therefore this conference. By embracing sustainable practices, we can mitigate climate change, preserve biodiversity, and ensure the well-being of our ecosystems. Social considerations underscore our commitment to people within our organizations and beyond. Fostering diversity, promoting fair labor practices, and investing in our communities are not just corporate obligations, but pathways to a more equitable and just society. Governance serves as a bedrock of trust and transparency. Strong governance frameworks ensure accountability, ethical decision making, and resilience in the face of challenges. It is the compass that guides us through uncharted waters as we navigate the complexities of our global landscape. Business that prioritize ESG factors not only contribute to a healthier planet and society, but also enhance their long-term sustainability. Let us commit to a future where success is measured not only in financial gains, but in the positive impact we make on this world. Together, we can build a legacy of responsibility, empathy, and resilience for generations to come. Friends, at this university, the Atlas Skill Tech University, we have included ESG into our curriculum. And therefore, we want these young people to take charge of their own life, at the same time take care of future generations, leave something better for them, which you have got it, or which you are not getting, but still you leave something for them. And therefore, this conference. Once again, I thank all the distinguished guests, those and the speakers, those who have agreed to come and give us some time to share their experiences with all the participants. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing those thoughts. It is my pleasure now to introduce and invite our strongest pillar of support at Atlas, our Pro Vice Chancellor, Professor Hina Thakkar. Ma'am is an academician with a teaching experience of more than 35 years. And rightly so, Ma'am has been the recipient of the Winning Teacher Award in 2004 and the Best Teacher Award in 2014. Ma'am, I would request you to please share a few words on the theme of our summit this year.
Thank you, Dr. Chetna. A very warm welcome to all the participants of AAROHAN 2.0 and a special mention of our international partners who have joined us from universities from UK, University of Bristol, University of Bath, University of Sussex, University of Westminster, and University of York. It gives me immense pleasure to be asked to express my thoughts on a topic that is so critical to our collective future. The importance, as was put up by our Vice Chancellor very aptly, on environment, social, and governance, popularly known as ESG and sustainability. I am aware that I am speaking to a well-informed audience. I say this because yesterday I have been witness to close to 363 papers that were presented at different tracks in ESG from different sectors. So the audience today present, a part of them are the ones who had presented papers, and therefore I say that it's a well-informed audience. Nonetheless, I know there are some students also present here. So, as is requested, I will express my thoughts on ESG, and I must confess these thoughts are the ones that I have picked up from a beautiful report on environment, social, and governance that I had read from one of the financial consulting firms, the KPMG. So what I'm going to just now speak is largely based on the report by KPMG. The E aspect of ESG, which is environmental consideration, as was put by my earlier speaker, is at the forefront of this movement. There are undeniable impacts of the climate change, rising sea levels, extreme weather events, and the loss of biodiversity. It has become now imperative for businesses to adopt the practices to reduce their carbon footprints, manage the natural resources responsibly, and foster environmental stewardship. The S in the ESG, the social aspect, focuses on companies' relationships with its employees, with its suppliers, customers, and the communities where it operates. This includes promoting DIE, diversity, inclusion, and equity, ensuring fair labor practices, and supporting human rights. Companies that will prioritize these values will be the one which will be the most preferred companies, but even by investors. The G in ESG, which is the governance, is the third pillar, and it refers to the system of rules, practices, and processes by which a company is governed, directed, and controlled. Strong governance is essential for building trust with stakeholders, attracting investment, and mitigating risk. Transparent reporting, ethical business conduct, and effective board oversight is what will ensure good governance. Integration of ESG and sustainability is now become a mandatory responsibility of the companies and the business houses. As individuals, what can we do to ensure that we are leaving least carbon footprints on this earth? There is a lot that as individuals we can do. We can follow the practices of the business houses of risk mitigations, investment attraction, consumer demand, because as consumers, we can really focus on companies that are following the ESG principles and only favor and go by those companies. When you read annual reports, there is a mandatory report on the regulatory compliance as far as ESG goes. We as individuals can impact the functioning, the governance of those companies by reading carefully those reports and making sure that the companies that follow the regulatory compliances for ESG are the most preferred business houses. In summary, what I would say is redefining corporate success to include ESG and sustainability is absolutely now necessary for modern businesses. This approach fosters a more resilient, innovative, and ethically grounded business landscape. As companies navigate this transition, they will find that embracing the ESG and sustainability model is not just beneficial for the world, but it is a key driver of enduring success and profitability. We look forward to very, very enriching discussions over the next 3 days on this subject. And we once again thank the organizing committee headed by Dr. Varsha Agarwal and the Student Research and Development Committee, the entire student team for having thought of this as a topic and for the brilliant line of speakers that they have ensured over the next 3 days. So thank you once again, and over to Dr. Chetna.
Thank you very much, ma'am, and thank you for those insights. ESG, yes, is definitely the way forward to achieving long-term sustainability. So next, I would like to introduce and invite our summit convener, Dr. Varsha Agarwal, whose brainchild is AAROHAN. She has worked tirelessly to bring together some of the most respected thought leaders in the field, all of whom share a common goal: to make a positive impact on society. So without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Agarwal to share an overview of the summit.
Thank you, Dr. Chetna. Colin Powell once said, "A dream does not become reality through magic. It takes sweat, determination, and hard work. And of course, a great teamwork makes the dream work." The day has come to the light after putting months of efforts, countless hours of hard work, 100 plus team members, and so much more. Welcome to the Global Summit on ESG and Sustainability, AAROHAN 2.0, the 2024 edition organized by Student Research and Development Cell of Atlas Skilltech University, Mumbai, India, in association with University of Bristol, University of Bath, University of York, University of Sussex, and University of Westminster. We thank all our associate partners for their support to make this summit a dream come reality. We'll have more than 90,000 participants from 60 plus countries and have representation from all 7 continents. The summit offers 4 tracks: finance, marketing, general management, and human resources for research paper presentations. We have received 450 total papers, out of which 369 papers have been shortlisted and accepted for presentation and publication. The summit holds 2 panel discussions, 5 keynote sessions, followed by 369 paper presentations, along with conferring prizes for best research papers in different tracks. For motivational purpose, the best paper winners are going to be awarded with cash prizes and ISBN book publication. To add to our event, we have several sessions by eminent personalities of international repute from various industries, academia, and diverse walks of life. Being our esteemed speakers, such as Dr. Pankaj Mittal, Secretary General at the Association of Indian Universities, Professor Anish Sugatan, Chair, Arun Dugal Center of ESG at IIM Ahmedabad, Dr. Marshall Goldsmith, who is world's #1 leadership thought leader, to mention a few, and all our eminent panelists for today, Dr. Vivek Soundarajan from University of Bath, Dr. Doug Speck from University of Westminster, Dr. Fiona Spotswood from University of Bristol, Professor Philip Lindsley from University of York, joining us all from United Kingdom. Once again, I would like to thank all our speakers, participants, and dignitaries for their immense support and presence. We hope all of you will have an extremely enriching learning experience during the summit. Dr. Chetna, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Agarwal, for bringing us together every year and for organizing this. So in today's age, a university's evolution will be considered incomplete without a global exposure. So here I invite Professor Utsav Shroff, our Director of International Relations, to take us through Atlas's journey. Professor Utsav?
Good afternoon, good evening to each one present over here. It's a pleasure to be a part of this conference, and I'm going to take you through some of the international relationships that we have at Atlas Kiltech University. At Atlas Kiltech University, we always bring the world to you. We've actually curated some of the best partnerships which are there available to our students. We've tied up with some of the leading Russell Group universities. We've tied up with leading universities around the world, such as Parsons, Bristol, LSE, NYU, etc., to actually help students achieve their dreams. While we have over 40 plus partnerships, there are 5 partnerships that are very, very dear to us. And I'm going to take you through some bonds of friendship that we have shared with these universities with us. Beginning with the University of Westminster, I think this relationship goes about over 2 decades since we've actually had the first interactions with the University of Westminster. Just showing you some glimpses, in January 2017, we'd taken a delegation of leading school and college principals to the University of Westminster, and they were very gracious in offering us scholarships. We've signed an MOU officially with the university on April 2022. We've had multiple masterclasses by leading professors from the University of Westminster down at our campus. At the International Faculty Week, we had about 7 international faculty from the University of Westminster across all the schools of design, business, and technology come and take some brilliant, engaging sessions with our students. We've also had interactions on global immersion visits with some leading faculty. We had Dr. Malcolm Kirkup and Dr. G. Wen engage with our students. Dr. Doug, we would like to welcome you to AAROHAN and to Atlas Kiltech University. With the University of Bristol, based in the UK, we've had, of course, some brilliant relationships with Dr. Agnes. These are some snapshots of our MOU signing ceremony with the University of Bristol in UK. We've met with various faculty and international staff and team members across. We've had some brilliant visits of delegations from the University of Bristol come to our campus, and it's something which we've always looked forward to with the University of Bristol. We also had Professor Ian Nabney from the University of Bristol, who had come down for the International Faculty Week at our campus, and it's something which we really treasure our relationship. Dr. Fiona Spotswood, we would welcome you to our campus and welcome you to AAROHAN as well. These are some snapshots of the global immersion to the University of Bristol. With the University of Bath, one of the strongest relationships, and I think this dates back 2 decades as well. We've had visits from His Royal Highness Prince Edward, the Duke of Edinburgh, at our campus. We've also had Professor Jeff Thompson, the Emeritus Professor, University of Bath, who we had interacted with previously. We had hosted the 50-year celebrations of the University of Bath in Mumbai. We've had, of course, the Vice Chancellor, the Deans of the School of Management, Professor Peter Nuttall, there at our university. And I would like to take this opportunity to welcome Professor Vivek Soundarajan to our campus and to AAROHAN. With University of Bath, we've always had some strong relationships, some teaching and learning pedagogies, and great exchanges in terms of research at our campus. With the University of Sussex, this is a relationship which we curated over the last 2 years, but has gone from pillar to post. It has been an amazing learning experience for our students, and the kind of experiences that our students have been brilliant. This relationship started off, I remember, with a cold visit to the University of Sussex, where we actually met Leo Cutting and Professor Richard Follett. This moved on to a lot of visits from their end to us. And very recently, last month, we had Professor Stephen Maguire, the Dean of the Business School at the University of Sussex, take a masterclass with our students and, of course, develop relationships. University of Sussex also offers great scholarships to our students. And I take this opportunity to welcome Professor Joseph Alcamo to AAROHAN. We, with the University of York, have some of the best relationships in terms of research and academic excellence. This was a visit by Professor Charlie Jeffrey, the Vice Chancellor, at our campus, where he actually reviewed student projects and worked very closely with the students. In June 2023, we signed an MOU with the University of York. And very recently, about a few days back, we had Dr. Bob Townley, who had taken a masterclass with the final year business students in the field of business management. I take this opportunity to welcome Dr. Philip Lindsley to AAROHAN. That was from the desk of the International Office. We would like to welcome each one of you and look forward to the academically stimulating conversations that lie ahead of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Utsav, for taking us through this amazing journey. And here we are ready to commence the most awaited panel discussion. So let me introduce to you the moderator of this esteemed panel, Professor Aditya Kashyap. Besides being an economist, he is the Director of Academic Excellence at Atlas University, and he plays a key role in designing new age business curricula. He has moderated numerous panels spanning over various fields and background. So let's invite Professor Kashyap to moderate this fascinating panel discussion. Over to you, Aditya.
Thank you, Dr. Chetna, for the kind introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed panelists and distinguished guests, welcome to today's panel discussion on sustainable futures, integrating ESG principles for global transformation. It is an honor to have each and every one of you here joining us in this crucial conversation about the future of our planet and the role of environmental, social, and governance principle in shaping it. Throughout our discussion, we will explore how we can harness the power of ESG principles to drive global transformation. We will delve into the strategies and solutions that can enable businesses, governments, and civil society to integrate sustainability into their core practices and decision-making processes. We will examine the challenges that lie ahead, as well as the opportunities that await us on the journey towards a more sustainable future. But most importantly, we will seek to inspire action that transcends borders and boundaries, that transcends politics and profit margins. Action that is rooted in compassion, empathy, and a deep sense of responsibility towards each other and towards the planet we call home. Thank you once again for joining us, and I look forward to a fruitful and enlightening discussion ahead. Today, we have assembled a panel of experts who bring a wealth of knowledge and experience to the table. From academia to industry, from research to implementation, each of our esteemed panelists brings a unique perspective and insight the complex interplay between sustainability, business, and society. Now, please allow me to formally introduce to you our esteemed panelists for this evening. Dr. Doug Specht. Dr. Doug Specht is a cultural geographer and an educationalist. His research explores themes related to environmental justice, human rights, and access to education, with a focus on the production and codification of knowledge through cartographic artifacts and in educational settings. In recognition of his work, he has been appointed as a chartered geographer and chartered teacher. In addition, he has been awarded advanced teacher status alongside being a senior fellow of Advance He. Dr. Specht has authored numerous articles and books, including Mapping Crisis, the Routledge Handbook of Geospatial Technology and Society, the Media and Communication Student Study Guide, and Imagining Apocalyptic Politics in the Anthropocene. He writes regularly in ethics, environmental and human rights, education, and mapping practices in such publication as Wong He. Dr. Specht is a member of the editorial board of the European Journal of Geography, Westminster Papers in Communication and Culture, Human, Inhuman, Posthuman. He is chair of the Environmental Network for Central America. Dr. Specht, a warm welcome to you. Dr. Fiona Spotswood is an associate professor in marketing and consumption, the range of overlapping research interests, with a particular focus on behavior change and intervention approaches for social change. She edited a book entitled Beyond Behavior Change in 2016, which concentrated on interdisciplinary methods for behavior change. Additionally, she spearheaded a seminar series funded by ESRC under the same title. Her work dwells into the role of marketing in addressing society's complex issues, emphasizing the application of social marketing principles, strategies, and innovations. Regarding PhD supervision, she welcomes proposals from prospective postgraduate researchers whose research aligns with her expertise. She expresses particular interest in projects related to active leisure, sports consumption, practice theoretical concepts in the context of social change, and social marketing. Interested people and participants are encouraged to reach out to her for further discussion. Dr. Fiona Spotswood, a warm welcome to you. Dr. Philip Lindsley. Dr. Philip Lindsley is a professor of accounting and risk-based in the School of Business and Society, University of York. After graduating in philosophy, Dr. Philip qualified as a chartered accountant, subsequently working as a financial controller in the industry and as a director of UK-based professional accountancy training company. He is currently undertaking a pilot project investigating financial inclusion amongst Bangladeshi rice farming households. Financial inclusion programs aim to ensure all individuals have access to formal banking systems and are especially focused on poor adults in the least developed economies. It is claimed financial inclusion can elevate poverty and improve a country's economy, but despite the best efforts of different stakeholders, organizations, users of mobile phones-based digital financial services remains relatively low in least developed nations. To identify over here how stakeholders can collaborate more effectively to significantly increase uptake of DFS. Dr. Philip Lindsley, a warm welcome to you. Dr. Vivek Soundararajan. Dr. Vivek is a professor of work and equality at the School of Management, University of Bath. Also, he is a United Kingdom Research and Innovation Future Leader Fellow. He leads research initiative Embed Dignity and acts as a deputy director of the Center of Business, Organizations and Society at the University of Bath. Dr. Vivek's research has received awards and nominations from top academic associations, journals, and media, including the Academy of International Business Best Theory Paper 2023, Financial Times Top 100 Papers with Social Impact 2020, Best Paper Award nomination 2022, Business Ethics Quarterly Journal Top 3 Outstanding Articles 2020, Business and Society Journal Papers Award 2019, and the Academy of Management Best Dissertation Award 2014. In 2015, UN member states agreed to 17 Global Sustainable Development Goals to end poverty, protect planet, and ensure property for all. That's all about the research that Dr. Vivek is into. Dr. Vivek, a warm welcome to you. Professor Joseph Alcamo is Professor of Environmental System Sciences and the Director of the Sussex Sustainability Research Program at the University of Sussex, UK. As SSRP Director, he leads a multifaceted research effort to provide science for SDGs. The SSRP has been a crucible for innovative ideas related to SDGs and sustainability. SSRP researchers have developed the idea of synergy drivers and approach to achieving multiple SDGs. As an environmental systems scientist, he has published extensively in areas of climate impact research, global modeling of the environment, integrated assessment modeling, and environmental scenario analysis. He has published 6 books on environmental themes, including a book on scenario analysis, environmental futures, and 3 books on climate change, science, and policy. The latest or Wiley book on life in Europe under climate change. He was co-founder of the 2 largest global change research alliances, the Earth System Science Partnership 2006 and Future Earth 2010-11. For his research, he has received several awards, including the International Max Planck Research Prize in Physics and Geoscience for contributions to the development of integrated modeling of the environment, and the Grand Prix des Loméras de Caen for contributions to global water research. Professor Joseph Alcamo, a warm welcome to you. So we'll formally start off with the panel discussion. And what I would like to do over here is go around the screen. I would usually call it around the table, but we'll go around the screen. And we'll start with Dr. Doug Specht. Dr. Doug Specht, can you hear me? I just wanted to check if, yeah.
Yes, I can, yes.
So Dr. Doug Specht, as digital media production evolves rapidly, how can we ensure that sustainability principles are integrated into the design and distribution of digital content?
Yeah, I think this is an interesting question, and apologies, I'm sat in a car at the moment because I'm out doing fieldwork. But this isn't something that's new at all. Film and television industries in much of the world have been integrating sustainability into the way that they create their content for a long time, and you've got big global initiatives like BAFTA, Albert, and these kinds of things that have been pushing this for a long time. I think what comes down to being an interesting question, which was kind of alluded to in one of the introductions that we had, was around those companies that are interested in bothering doing this and those companies that aren't. And while there's some sort of degree of consumer choice in lots of places, when it comes to digital content, our degree of choice is somewhat more limited, and we get shoehorned into very particular places. So there's certainly an awful lot of ways in which sustainability principles can be integrated into the design and distribution of digital content. The willingness to do so in a genuine and real way, I think, is something that needs examining. Yes, you have big corporations like Google and Facebook or Meta, Alphabet, saying, sure, we use renewable energy, but at the same time, that renewable energy is then being moved away from other places. So I think the more interesting place that we can look, rather than actually looking at these big corporations, which are extraordinarily unlikely to actually shift anything from the status quo because it doesn't serve their interests, is to actually look at content creators and what they're creating. And that's where things like BAFTA Albert are interesting initiatives, looking at how we put sustainability into creative content. I'll just give you one quick example, and then I'm aware we're already sort of running tight on time. So the big TV series Succession that was on everywhere around the world for a while, in lots of ways did not push a sustainability agenda because everyone flies around in a helicopter, is pushing extraordinary wealth and all this kind of thing. But actually, one of the storylines that was purposely written into this content was around Greenpeace, and the storyline was written in such a way that actually Greenpeace saw the number of donations being made to their organization absolutely skyrocket. I think it's something like 2,000% increase following the screening of that episode. So there's interesting ways that we can work on changing content which nudges people's behavior. I think relying on big tech companies and big distribution companies would be a false premise, as it doesn't really serve their interests to look at being more sustainable.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Dr. Specht. I think that kind of summarizes everything as at least it summarizes as an opening remark to how digital media production can really emphasize on design and distribution of digital content. Moving on to Dr. Fiona Spotswood, I would like to ask you, how can companies effectively communicate their sustainability efforts to consumers without appearing disingenuous or engaging in greenwashing?
Yeah, it's a very tricky question, and probably it does take up a lot of time and energy in the research space as well. There's a lot of marketing consumption research about authenticity and greenwashing, and it's a challenge that all organizations now face in terms of their marketing. It's not a question anymore as to whether or not a business function should engage with questions of sustainability. That is pretty much a given. It's therefore not a competitive option for organizations. It's not a way of making them different, but it can cause real problems and get in the way of their relationships with customers and potential customers if their actions and their promises and their marketing claims seem to be inauthentic. Consumers are very interested in sustainability, although we know there's a huge gap between interest and concern and action for lots of different reasons. But we do know that consumer concern and reflexivity about sustainability and their purchasing and the brands they support is growing consistently. But we also know that sustainable marketing claims doesn't necessarily have an effect on making better social and environmental decisions. A good example is fast fashion, high street fashion, where the latest latest research has suggested that actually sustainable marketing efforts by high street fashion brands are in fact increasing fast fashion sales. That's probably because consumers are neutralizing their guilt by buying brands. They probably know that it's not the best sustainable decision to keep buying new fashion, but because those brands are making claims about their sustainability credentials, consumers are sort of shrugging their shoulders and saying, well, it's fine because I've bought into this brand that's doing great things and has, an organic cotton supplier and so on. So it's actually the more sustainable marketing that happens in some sectors, the more purchasing of new products and therefore unsustainable consumption is happening at the same time. So there are real problems with it. Greenwashing is something slightly different but connected, and it's a huge problem for organizations to know how to pitch their sustainable marketing efforts and their sustainable credentials. There's the sort of latest trend is something called green hushing, where actually businesses are choosing not to talk about it because it's so difficult to be authentic now in this space, and it's so difficult to pitch it right that actually genuine sustainable efforts are just being reported on in ways that are not part of marketing communications, and that's a tricky decision to make. There's obviously a big piece of work around aligning genuine social purpose, business purpose with marketing efforts and sustainability, rather than bolting on sustainable claims into marketing. And that's something that organizations have got to pick their way through as they decide how they're going to address these issues. But there's a lot to discuss.
Perfect. Thank you, Dr. Spotswood. I think that kind of also kind of brings to the table the point of green hushing. I think more than the challenge of sustainability and just kind of doing what is required to be done, I think the challenge is bigger over here is about just communicating what has to be done and needs to be done. Moving on to Professor Philip Lindsley. From an accounting and risk perspective, what challenges do business face when implementing ESG, environmental, social, and governance principles, and how can these challenges be addressed?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Thank you for inviting me onto the panel. I think this maybe nicely follows on from what Fiona was saying, particularly in terms of greenwashing and that aspect. In the accounting field, there have always been CSR reports and the like produced for quite a lot of years now. But what we're seeing in the accounting landscape in terms of ESG is a number of challenges that are causing businesses real problems. One of the challenges is that just the wide range of reporting initiatives that companies are facing. If you look at the number of those initiatives, it's really a lot, and they keep changing as well. So you have things like the Carbon Disclosure Project, TCFD, TNFD, you have global reporting initiatives, sustainable accounting standard boards, you have the European Sustainability Reporting Standards. And I think that's just very difficult for companies to get a grip on as to what they're actually meant to be doing. I guess a solution to that is to try to simplify the reporting landscape for them. But associated with that is the fact that when you actually go into these reporting requirements, they've now become really quite complex. So if you take some of the reporting requirements around, for example, company impacts on nature and biodiversity, they are really quite detailed, and they are hard for companies to understand, even if they want to engage with them as fully as possible. So a lot of these companies who are trying to be following best practice, they're going up a really steep learning curve because of that. Related to that, it's making companies making them have to think differently as well. For example, in terms of who their stakeholders are. If you look at that in, again, in say the nature-related reporting field, they're having to think differently about stakeholders in terms of broader stakeholder groups, for example, local communities and indigenous peoples. So it's for some companies a new way of thinking. I think the other thing that's maybe just to highlight in terms of an accounting challenge is that the directors, there are directors who genuinely want to act on ESG matters and do best they can in that respect, but they are operating in a really complex world with lots of difficult problems, and all of those problems they're trying to juggle with, and ESG is just one of those. So it often takes their attention away from what they're trying to do on ESG as they navigate all of these things like cost of living crises, countries moving into near recessions, all those sorts of things that go on that also tax them. So I guess it gives a flavour of some of the challenges that they face, and they are genuinely trying to do good things, a lot of companies, but finding it difficult.
I think this kind of summarizes, I think, most of the firms and organizations that I'm sure you've been researching about and also have an experience of what they've been doing. I think also from an accounting perspective, it's very different, and it's kind of compliance based more than just communication based. So I think that was very well covered by what you're trying to say. Moving on to Dr. Vivek, this question is for you. In terms of work and equality, how can organizations ensure that their sustainability initiatives are inclusive and benefit all stakeholders, including marginalized communities?
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me to this wonderful session, and I'm very humbled to be here sharing the panel with the esteemed colleagues. I strongly, when it comes to equality, inequality, and exploitation, that is what my research focuses on. I believe in multi-stakeholder collaboration, where multiple stakeholders with diverse viewpoints come together. But that's not very easy, as many research says, including my own research. And so there are certain principles that can be included in such multi-stakeholder collaborations, where such initiatives can actually help develop inclusive initiatives that benefit diverse range of stakeholders. So one of the principles I talk about is inclusivity, where you include multiple voices, including the marginalized voices, and powerful stakeholders like brands and governments should not dominate such deliberation or multi-stakeholder collaboration, where everyone within the collaboration should feel that their voice is heard and they are included in such initiatives, and not just for as recipients, but as creators of those initiatives as well. I also feel that there is an importance of framing it as a shared problem is very important, and not like your problem or my problem, but rather a shared problem that we all need to solve, because the challenges that we are facing when it comes to sustainability or ESG are grand challenges and wicked problems, right? So no one stakeholder has the solution or the capacity to resolve these issues. So we need all these stakeholders to come together and see that as a shared problem, which is not often possible given that there is power relations involved, but there is a way that powerful stakeholder can create a setting, including brands that can create a setting where everyone's voice is included. The second principle I focus on is authenticity, which is basically respecting each and every stakeholders and recognizing their agency within the whole multi-stakeholder participation, and not excluding certain stakeholders as you don't have the capability. For example, to take supply chains or sustainability initiatives, often the marginalized communities are included, but they are not often recognized, their agency is not often recognized, they are not well respected, etc. in those initiatives. So it's important for an authentic deliberation and discussion to happen. You need all these stakeholders to be recognized and their capabilities and agency respected. There is also this principle of collective decision of social outcomes as well. It's not that some powerful stakeholders define the rules of the game and outcomes of the game, but rather, and marginalized stakeholders and other stakeholders just participate in the game, but rather the whole game itself must be designed through collective deliberation process, including marginalized voices. And that is why you see a lot of these initiatives are resisted by marginalized voices and recipients of those initiatives, because the game is not their game. The game is someone else's game, where they are just beneficiaries or forced into participation. And connected to this is the experimentation, local experimentation, which is the final principle I suggest that can help in inclusive initiative, is where these local stakeholders, when it comes to local stakeholders, I mean workers, local suppliers in for example, global supply chains and international businesses, given agency and given responsibility to design their own initiatives to address a particular outcome defined deliberatively, right? And it's not just you do this and you do that and defining each and every step of those initiatives, but rather than that, the local stakeholders must be given the responsibility and they should be sharing the responsibility of leading those initiatives. A good example is worker-driven social responsibility, which was pioneered in the US in the context of tomato supply chain, and it's been now moved to other food supply chain as well, where workers in those supply chains are given responsibility to not just share their voices, but also enforce agreements within those supply chains. So they are called enforcement-based agreements. This is a newly developing initiative that are emerging within the supply chains, where workers are given the responsibility to monitor the supply chains, but also audit the supply chains and enforce if anything goes wrong within those supply chains as well. So these are my thoughts.
Thank you so much. I think that clearly focuses on a collectivism approach than an individualism approach. And I think we do talk about a lot of socioeconomic problems about, setting up new institutions. I mean, since the 1980s, right, institutionalism has been on a drive. And also talking about the free riding issue. And I think that revolves around that. So very well summarized out there. Professor Joseph Elcamo, so this is for you. Can you share some examples of successful collaborations between academia, industry, and government bodies in advancing sustainability agendas and driving positive change on a global scale?
Well, I'd also like to thank you very much for this kind invitation to this fascinating meeting. And with regards to your question, yeah, there's a lot of good news out there in the world, something we could be happy about. Let me just tell you about one example that I'm very familiar with, I was involved in organizing something when I was a chief scientist at UNEP a few years ago. It's called the Climate and Clean Air Coalition. That was founded in 2012 by UNEP, Sweden, Bangladesh, and a few other partners. It's now grown to an organization with 160 partners, involving government, NGOs, scientists, businesses like Global LPG Partnership, BSR, Smart Freight Center, etc. And the aim is to reduce pollutants that not only lead to air pollution, but also contribute significantly to climate change. So kind of a win-win situation. Those are pollutants like methane, which itself is not an air pollutant, but leads to ozone in the atmosphere, which is a very important air pollutant, and black carbon, which is the main constituent of smoke. Wherever you produce smoke, you produce black carbon, which actually has quite an important impact on global warming, as well as being a very dangerous pollutant. So the coalition has been operating for a few years and runs a variety of different projects in over 70 different countries. For example, they've focused on trying to support countries that still have coal mines in operation, or even old coal mines, and these can be a source of methane, which is a very important greenhouse gas. And there's various technological ways of recuperating or collecting that methane so it doesn't get into the atmosphere. That's just one example of the project. Even more interesting and more comprehensive is the effort to replace smoke-producing stoves that are still used all throughout the world with more efficient stoves that don't produce as much black smoke. So it's still astonishing to me that more than 2 billion people in the world still use open fires or poor cook stoves to cook every day. And that leads to an incredible indoor air pollution problem wherever these stoves are used, of course. Turns out that the World Meteorological Organization reports that more than 3 million people, mostly women, die each year from indoor air pollution. So this is a huge problem which the coalition is working on, and it's quite admirable. The coalition of businesses, together with UN and universities, are coming up with new designs for more efficient cook stoves in this case, but also, more importantly, working with communities to introduce these, and sometimes working with communities to co-design these new cook stoves. So I think that's a pretty good story when you have to talk about different partnerships that are contributing to sustainability. But I have to say, since I have the floor, that I share Dr. Spotswood's concern about greenwashing. There's this organization in the UK called the Advertising Standards Authority, and that is the industries that are doing business in the UK are self-regulating themselves with regards to advertising. And they're a very busy organization. I'm just going to tell you about 3 cases recently that they had. In 2020, a major European airlines was claiming in the UK and UK advertising that it's Europe's low-fare, low CO2 emissions airline. Well, yes and no. That didn't pan out for a variety of reasons I can't get into now. The ASA closed down that advertisement. A year later, a major bank, which I won't name, based in Hong Kong, was claiming that it's going to provide up to $1 trillion US dollars to finance clients to achieve net zero emissions and plant 2 million trees. It was very true, but what they didn't say in their advertisements is that they are now supporting oil and gas projects that lead to more than 60 million tons of equivalent CO2 each year. The ASA, the Advertising Council, closed that advertisement down. And a year later, a major international corporation that produces a lot of detergents that I think we all use said tough on stains and kinder to our planet turned out to be unsubstantiated, and this major company that actually on other fora claims to be quite sustainable, their advertisement was closed down by the ASA. So I think that if we're talking about making ESG happen, if we're talking about making private, public, academic partnerships working, we really do have to confront this idea of greenwashing that's going on. And I'm curious whether once the ASA, the UK organization, closed those advertisements down, did they still use those advertisements in other countries? India has the Advertising Standards Council, and I'm sure they close down advertisements that aren't true. I wonder whether some of those advertisements are now then shown in the UK or other countries. So I think one aspect of what we're talking about here is that, of course, commerce is very international, and we need to talk about solutions that not only work in our own countries, but work across the borders.
Thank you very much. I think what you have done, Professor Joseph, is you've kind of captured all of the insights together in a summarized format, and I think that's very evident that communication plays a very vital role in kind of also maintaining ESG standards and principles that apply to most of the companies. What I'm going to do is something interesting out here. There is one question which I want to specifically ask the three of you, Professor Doug Specht, Professor Fiona Spotswood, and Professor Philip Lindsley. If you could just kind of, in a summarized format, what are some of the innovative strategies or best practices that you have observed in companies or organizations successfully integrating ESG principles into their core business operations? Any one of you, or you can just give me a combined thought on this.
Well, I mean, I guess I haven't got a direct answer, but I've got an answer which is helpful. So I teach here in Bristol. I teach a unit called Sustainable Marketing and Social Change, and one of the things I like to do on this unit is to bring in business leaders to talk to students about how they align their ambitions for sustainability with the realities of everyday business and making a profit. A lot of our students have this sort of outdated view that you can't be principled and drive sustainable business and be profitable at the same time. And I try and encourage them to think that actually being profitable is essential for a sustainable business, because if you're not profitable, you can't operate, and therefore you can't do the business in a different way, and you can't align those ideals in your everyday practice. And so we talk a bit about the kind of evolved marketing paradigm where your purpose of existence is to leave the world in a better way than you arrived. And to do that, you have to be profitable. And so one of the I'd say cross-cutting themes that we see when we invite local and national business leaders in to talk to the students is this idea of transparency. And this comes up time and time again, because actually it's not simple to do sustainable business. There are a lot of problems with finding out the basic information of what's happening in a supply chain. It sounds very simple. Just make sure you've got sustainable suppliers who treat humans well and have, the best possible environmental or the least possible environmental impact. It's not always that simple. And the thing I've noticed is that the genuinely authentic sustainable business leaders, they are transparent about the things they don't know as much as they are transparent about their efforts to align their business practice with sustainable outcomes. And there are lots of examples of this where marketing communications have communicated to customers where something has gone wrong, where decisions were poor, where decisions were backtracked because a certain supplier was chosen, and later down the line the company discovered this supplier wasn't as sustainable as they'd hoped. And this is communicated in a genuinely authentic and transparent way. So there's no kind of attempt to claim that this is all part of the plan. And you can actually see this if you read Yvonne Chouinard's writings about the history of Patagonia, which is, there's lots of critique about Patagonia, but the way that the company was set up very much aligns with what we understand to be sustainable business. It was set up in order to do a better job and leave the world in a better way. It was set up because of a particular problem that was coming about because of the way consumers were consuming climbing and the act of mountaineering. And what I see in that book, in a lot of the books that he's written, but in the book I'm thinking of, Let My People Go Surfing, is a constant repeat of, we tried this, it didn't work, it was a mistake, we went back to this different option, and a genuine drive to be transparent. And I see this at different scales with the business leaders that we invite. There's a small chain of cafes here called Boston Tea Party, and they had a desire to be transformative, which is one of the core principles of doing sustainable business. They wanted to make a change beyond their own business. So they were the first independent cafe to stop takeaway cups. They did an assessment of what impact that would have on their profits, and they learned from their consultants that it would have a huge impact on their profits, and it would be a problem financially, but they did it anyway because it was the right thing to do. And you can see in their communication that they have tried various options, gone with different suppliers, and they are constantly repeating this idea that we don't know whether this is going to work, and we're going to be transparent with our customers about our attempts. But therefore, it comes across as being extremely authentic, and I think that is the reason that they've got a good reputation. They've developed a good reputation, and you can say the same about Patagonia on a much larger scale. Their attempts at transparency feeds into their authenticity.
Perfect. I think, thank you very much. We have a couple of questions which kind of summarizes over here. I would like to mention that Dr. Pankaj Mittal has joined in, and she's our keynote speaker for today. We also have founding president, Chancellor, Dr. Indushani over here. Ma'am, if you could welcome Dr. Pankaj as well.
A very warm welcome to Dr. Pankaj Mittal. We're really, really, really thankful to you because our students and our staff members were very, very excited about having you around here. And thank you so much, ma'am, for being here. It's it's something where the students and faculty have worked extremely hard to put this together. And we've had, this is AAROHAN's 2.0. 1.0 had over hundreds of people who had joined in our program. And now with 2.0, the excitement is unbelievable in the institution. So ma'am, your being here makes all the difference. And for all those who are here, are visiting faculty and our faculty from abroad, let me tell you that a lady at helm can make a difference that you will not be able to understand. She has been with the Association of Indian Universities, brought all the universities together, and focused on sustainability, focused on ESG, and has worked extremely well with the universities around. So not just that, but I think her initiatives go far beyond just the universities. She is able to see that the students even get the credit for their academics, and that would make it easier for them to be in different universities around. So truly international, truly Indian, truly actually supporting the supporting the I would say the national education policy, and which has been a major breakthrough for us in India, and she is heralding it ahead with all the universities. Thank you so much for being here, Dr. Mittal. We cannot tell you how happy I am, especially because I've seen you closely and you are a good friend. You supported us, you gave us the encouragement, and you said that we should go ahead and create this university. The only university that has been created by teachers and so truly done during the pandemic. And I think today you would be proud of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am, and a warm welcome to you, Dr. Pankaj. It's indeed an honor to have you here with us. Before we go on with the next part of this evening, I would formally like to thank all our panelists for this evening, Professor Joseph Alcamo, Dr. Vivek Sandarajan, Dr. Philip Linsley, and Dr. Doug Specht, and Professor Fiona Spotswood. It's indeed a pleasure to have you here. And thank you very, very much for all your valuable insights and sharing the experience with the larger community and all our students over here. Thank you very much. With this, I would like to now invite Professor Hina Thakkar, ma'am, if you could formally introduce Dr. Pankaj Mittal for the keynote address. Thank you, ma'am.
So, Aditya, it's an absolute pleasure to introduce a lady who has made so much difference to the spectrum of the higher education in India. Dr. Pankaj Mittal, as Dr. Shani just mentioned, is the Secretary General of the Association of Indian Universities, popularly known as AIU, and is only the second woman Secretary General of the Association in its 97 years of existence. Prior to joining AIU, she's been serving the higher education sector, especially university education, for over 30 years. She was a Fulbright scholar and has been a topper in MSc and PhD in agricultural statistics from IARI, New Delhi. She has been on the, she spent more than 3 decades in higher education and policy planning and management of institutions of higher education. Dr. Mittal earlier served as the first regular Vice Chancellor of Bhagat Phool Singh Mahila Vishwavidyalaya, Kanpur. This was the first rural women university of North India, and Dr. Mittal brought series of innovative practices and reforms as the Vice Chancellor of the only rural residential multi-faculty women's state university of the country, imparting education to 7,000 girls from KG up to PhD level in a holistic manner. Dr. Mittal's contribution in the form of research has been tremendous, and she has traveled the globe, and she's been for her conferences and academic exchanges. She has visited USA, Canada, UK, Australia, Mexico, China, South Korea, Spain, Germany, South Africa, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Mauritius, and Philippines. These are just a few names from the long list that I am reading out. Dr. Mittal had led a delegation of 15 vice chancellors to UK for academic collaborations. She's been a recipient of very many awards and honors. To mention the most prominent one amongst those are the Fulbright Nehru Scholarship Grant for Educational Administrators, the President of India Award in 2017 for Digital Initiatives in Higher Education, an honorary D.Litt from Karnataka State Women's University. She was the first Padma Shri Subhasini Devi Award winner for contributions in societal development and community engagement from the Chief Minister of Haryana. And she's a winner of Quimpro Gold Standard Award for Leadership in Education. Dr. Mittal has been a crusader when it comes to making regulatory changes to bring about the betterment of higher education. And she has been on various regulatory bodies like the future. She was being a member of Future of Education of Niti Aayog Government of India, General Assembly of Indian Council for Cultural Relations, known as ICCR, Finance Committee
Hina,
member
you can
of
leave. I think, Hina, it is your introduction
such
would
a
be longer
pleasure.
than my keynote address.
Ma'am, it's a pleasure reading your achievements. It's really, really a pleasure. She's been on the finance committee of ICCR. She's been the director at the Doon School, Dehradun, on the steering group of UK India Educational Research Initiatives, UKERI, popularly known as. She's been on the search committee of selection of vice chancellors, board of governors. She's been on the Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Central University Nominee Committee, and the list goes long. Dr. Mittal It's an absolute honor to have you amidst us as a keynote speaker. We call upon you and request you to please give your keynote address.
Thank you. Thank you, Hina, for a really generous introduction. First of all, let me thank Madam Indu Shahani. She's a very, very old friend, and I really admire her courage, resilience that she's here in this conference today. I also congratulate Atlas Skilltech University for holding this summit, global summit on ESG and sustainability, a topic which is very, very important in today's time, especially after the UN SDGs were there and seeing the position of various countries. For example, India in the when we talk of ranking in terms of realizing SDGs, our rank is very low, around 170 to 120. So this is very, very important topic globally, but more so for India. And I am from Association of Indian Universities. Just to tell a few of you who do not know about Association of Indian Universities, this is the largest university association in the world with about 1,000 universities as the members, out of which 16 are international members and rest are Indian members, but 1,000 universities are our members. And we engage with the universities in a sort of very many ways, which includes engaging with the vice chancellors, engaging with the faculty, engaging with the students. For the vice chancellors, we do many roundtable conferences for the vice chancellors. We also do around 6 vice chancellors conferences every year. For the faculty, we engage in sort of doing capacity building exercises, or we are running many centers for sort of doing the capacity building courses for them. With the students, of course, there are many ways we do student research conventions. One of them is being held today in Bombay University, the National Convention. We also engage with the students in terms of sports activities, because as per the National Education Policy, we are talking about the holistic development of the students. And we also engage with them in terms of cultural activities. We do hold youth festivals at the national and international level, and even the Khelo India University Games, which are very, very popular now. So our engagement with the university fraternity is too much, and our convening power is very high. So that is why we keep on taking the issues which are of utmost importance to India, as well as the say global issues. So when I was saying that we do engage with the vice chancellors, so I mean, when the national education policy came, and in we call it NEP 2020, so in that policy a lot of emphasis was given on sustainability, on sustainable development. So therefore, in the very next year of the national education policy, we devoted one full year on UN Sustainable Development Goals. And the purpose was that UN Sustainable Development Goals, there are 17 goals, and every country has to realize them by 2030. But what we realized was that although many countries are doing many things, but in India, we were feeling that a lot of work is being done at the government level, but the universities, the higher education sector, the colleges, the schools, they are not sort of a part of that ecosystem to realize the sustainable development goals. And all of you would be knowing that India is having the second largest higher education system in the world. And we have something like 40 million students in our universities and colleges. And if you include schools also, then the total number is something like 300 million. So 300 million students we have in our schools and colleges and universities. And this is much, much more than the population of many countries. So if we leave this sector behind, if we do not involve this sector in realizing SDGs, obviously we will not be able to have the speed and efficiency with which we should be realizing the SDGs. Therefore, at AIU, we sort of spent one full year on discussing SDGs. We did 6 conferences on SDGs. 5 were the zonal conferences, and in each zonal conference, we talked about 4 SDGs. And one conference we talked about SDG 4 because it deals with the quality education. And in the main conference, we discussed all the 17 SDGs together as a fallout of all the 5 conferences in which the 17 SDGs were discussed individually. And when we discuss that, then we realize that there's a lot which the universities can do. It is not that the work has to be done by the government or the government schemes or the regulatory bodies. The higher education institutions, the vice chancellors, the heads of the institutions, the deans, the faculty, the students, everybody can contribute in realizing SDGs. And so, first and foremost, how they can contribute is, I'll talk in general about the SDGs and the report and the findings. I'll show you a copy of the report. This is the report which we brought out. It is called Building a Sustainable Future, Realizing UN SDGs through HEIs. I don't know whether it will be visible or not. Because of this, I don't think it will be. Is it visible? Okay. So this is the report which we had, in which we were talking. Because of this background, maybe it is going here and there again and again. So this was the report. This is on the AIU website also. So here we have a chapter for each SDG, and each SDG we are talking about that for every SDG, what the government can be doing, what the regulatory bodies can be doing, and what the higher education institutions can be doing. And within the higher education institutions, what can be done by the administrators, what can be done by the faculty, and what can be done by the students. So please go through this report. This is a very, very important report. But I'll just tell you 5-6 salient features, and then I'll specifically talk about a little bit about the ESGs. But one of the main things which was in this report was that every higher education institution, first and foremost, should be that they should practice the implementation of SDGs on their campuses, especially the SDGs which relate to climate change, the SDGs which relate to efficient use of energy. So can we make our campuses zero carbon footprint campuses? Can we ensure that we are using low energy devices, low energy buildings, energy efficient buildings, or green buildings, what we call it? Are we using a lot of solar energy? Are we using the recycling? Are we having the sewage treatment plants? Are we, I mean, in what all manners on the university campus, we can make it, say, energy efficient, climate friendly, zero carbon footprint campuses. So all this is required, and there are universities in our country which are practicing this. One of the universities is Shulini in Himachal Pradesh, which is almost on the verge of becoming a zero carbon footprint campus. So this is very important that the universities themselves should practice all these measures on their campuses, because when they practice, learning by doing is something which we are now propagating all through the national education policy and otherwise also in our universities and colleges. Second thing was that when we spoke to the students, it was, I mean, we were shocked that many of the students were not even knowing about SDGs. What are SDGs? Why should we sort of realize SDGs? What is the importance of SDGs? So the second thing was create awareness about SDGs, not only SDG 4, which relates to education, but all the 17 SDGs. Create awareness about SDGs in the faculty members as well as in the students. And then when the students, suppose I'm saying that 40 million students are there in our higher education institutions. So if one student goes back to the family and tells 4 more, so there will be something like 160 million people who would be knowing about SDGs. And then it can be a cascading effect. So create awareness about SDGs and their importance in the student community, in the faculty, with a request that they should go and tell it to their families and friends also. Third was that generally SDG is not included in the curriculum. Even if it is included, it is sort of a separate chapter. Can we integrate SDGs with the curriculum in such a manner that so that it becomes a part of the curriculum? So that many universities are ready to do. And then in this report, we have specifically mentioned that how each SDG can be a part of curriculum in various subjects, in various programs which the university is running. That is very, very important. And also because we have a new concept of ABC in the new education policy. And ABC, I think you would be knowing that ABC is Academic Bank of Credit, in which the let me explain you ABC in a little detail, because this is a concept which is the most innovative concept of the national education policy. So in ABC, the students can do various courses from various universities, which we call as stitch your own degree or design your own degree. So the students can do various courses from various universities at different points of time. And then ABC is a bank which is sort of established by the Government of India, a virtual bank. And the students have to open an account in that bank. And when they do courses from different universities, they can sort of deposit their credits in their account in the ABC. So they keep on accumulating credits. And one day when they have the threshold number of credits, they can redeem it into a degree. So we also requested the universities that do courses on SDGs, on implementation of SDGs, which the students can take as a part of their ABC, means for earning credits from various universities, which can eventually lead to a degree. So include it in the curriculum as a standalone, integrating in the curriculum for various programs, or as a standalone course, which can be taken up by the students for earning credits, which can eventually lead to the degree. Fourth was, university can do research in various areas of SDGs. So specific research projects can be submitted to various agencies, and now many agencies are even giving preference to the course, to the projects which are on SDGs. So can universities submit research projects? Can they do researches in the area of SDGs? Can they publish in the areas of SDGs? And once they publish, they should also sort of tag it in such a manner so that it comes in the that list of SDG related papers. So can the universities do research in the areas of SDG? That was something. And it was also said that every university, they should make an action plan. So an action plan, that sort of a time-bound action plan, that in say 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, how they are going to implement various SDGs, what steps they will be taking, what type of curriculum changes they will be making, what type of research they will be indulging in. So an action plan should be made in all the universities. And one more recommendation was that the government is doing a lot of work in the field of implementation of SDG. A number of schemes have been launched by the Government of India, but who is doing the impact analysis of those schemes? Are we doing the impact analysis of these schemes to find out whether these schemes are really making an impact? And if they are not fully making an impact, what are the ways in which we can be sort of modifying the schemes or doing something more so that they really become impactful? Because the ranking of India is really not very good. Of course, it has improved from 120 to I think 112 or 113 now, but still it is very, very low. So what can be done by the universities, by the colleges, by the higher education institutions, or even the schools in improving our ranking, in sort of realizing SDGs in a much, much better manner? So these 5, 6 things were mentioned in that report. Of course, the details are in the report, which is available for everyone to see. Now coming specifically to ESG, that is environment, social and governance. So what I would like is that I would like to delve into the challenges we face, the opportunities that lie ahead, and the imperative for universities to lead the way in addressing these issues through collaboration and innovation. So you know that we are all living in an era of unprecedented change. And what are the changes? Climate change, rapid urbanization, technological disruptions, socio-economic inequalities. These are, only a few. There are so many of them. But these are just a few of the complex challenges confronting our world. So these issues, and then these issues are not confined to the national borders. They are global in nature and they require collective action to solve. So in this context, universities have a very, very critical role to play as hubs of knowledge creation, as a hub of innovation, and a hub for collaboration. So for example, one of the key challenges we face is climate change. The scientific consensus is clear that we are facing a climate emergency that requires urgent and decisive action. Universities, with their wealth of expertise in fields, there are a number of fields in which the universities are working. So universities with their wealth of expertise in the fields ranging from environmental science to policy analysis are, I feel, uniquely positioned to contribute to solutions. However, I also agree, and I also feel that no single university or country can tackle climate change alone. We need to forge partnerships that transcend borders and disciplines, bringing together researchers, policymakers, businesses, and civil society organizations to develop and implement effective strategies for mitigation and adaptation. Without cooperation, without working together, we just cannot achieve anything. So if we really want to solve the problems, we have to go in for the collaborations and partnerships with not only within India but even abroad. So what we need is that we need to create awareness among the students regarding climate change and the good practices they can follow to protect the environment, conserve energy, and many more. The universities need to be zero carbon footprint campuses through effective use of solar energy, converting biomass into energy, and so on. So they can do a lot of research on sustainable development. They have to do. I mean, there is no option. They have to do a lot of research on sustainable development. In addition to climate change, we also face so many challenges. I mean, the pressing challenges in areas such as poverty. India is a poor country, so which face challenges in terms of poverty, inequality, and access to education and healthcare. The gross enrollment ratio for India is right now 27.4, which is, for the developed countries, it will have 60%, 70%, but for us, it is right now 27.4. Even the healthcare access is not very good. So these challenges are deeply interconnected, and addressing them again requires a holistic approach that recognizes the complex web of social, economic, and environmental factors at play. Once again, I feel universities have a crucial role to play in fostering multidisciplinary research, interdisciplinary research, and collaboration to tackle these issues from multiple angles. Moreover, I think universities must recognize the importance of engaging with stakeholders beyond academia. I mean, it's that universities cannot be working within their closed or four walls only. They have to engage themselves with the other stakeholders which are beyond academia. They can be governments, businesses, civil society organizations, local communities. All of them have valuable insights and resources to contribute to sustainable development agenda. So if the universities are able to forge partnerships with these stakeholders, universities can ensure that their research and innovations are not only relevant, but also accessible and actionable. That is very, very important. And I also feel that the universities must embrace a culture of innovation and entrepreneurship to devise sustainable development. Because without innovation and without entrepreneurship, we cannot even think of realizing the sustainable development. So this will include supporting research and developments of new technologies. This can be promoting technology transfer. This can be nurturing the next generation of social entrepreneurs, nurturing the next generation of change makers. So all this has to be done by the universities, and by providing students with opportunities to apply their knowledge in real world settings and encouraging them to think creatively and critically, universities can cultivate a new generation of leaders. That is the work of the universities, that they should cultivate a new generation of leaders who are equipped to tackle the complex challenges of 21st century. This is very important. And in addition to not only research and innovation, but in addition to research and innovation, universities also have a vital role to play in education and capacity building of the students, capacity building of the faculty. By integrating sustainability principles into their curricula and promoting global citizenship. The global citizenship is something which our national education policy is also promoting. So if we promote global citizenship and cross-cultural understanding, universities can empower students to become agents of change in their own communities and beyond. Further, universities can offer training and capacity building programs to equip professionals with the skills and knowledge needed to address sustainability challenges in their respective fields. So when I was working as the Vice Chancellor of a university in Haryana, it was a rural women university. So I used to tell the students that you are working in the labs for doing, say, salt analysis. Why can't you go out in the village and do the soil analysis to tell the farmers that what nutrient is deficient in the soil? Why can't you go and do the water analysis to tell which hand pump water is fit for drinking and which one is not? Why can't you go and do for example, the history students can go and write the history of the villages. The geography students can do the geo mapping of the this, and then physics students can develop some small technologies for the villages. Why can't you do this? And actually speaking, our students did it. They even made something, because we are talking of community engagement, they did also something like they prepared a machine called upla making machine. Upla is, I don't know, the foreigners who are here, they may not understand, but upla is cow dung cakes, which are used in the rural household for cooking as well as for hookahs, which is used for smoking. But then making a upla is a very, very messy affair, and the hands are dirty, and the girls go to the extent of saying that we won't marry a house in which I have to make uplas. So our students made a upla making machine in which it was not a rocket science, in which you put some cow dung and grass, and out comes a upla in like a small soap cake, dried uplas. So that was something which was, I don't say it was a rocket science, but the university felt that the villagers, the community, they felt that the university thinks about us. The university is worried about us. They are worried about our problems. So that is something very great, which we should be. The university and the community, there should be a bridge between them. It should not be the universities working within the four walls and the communities is separate and they are all lesser mortals. So this is very, very important that the university works with the community. So that is the first center which we opened in our university. That was Center for Society, University Interface and Research. So we did many things like for self-financing courses. Self-help groups were created, not self-financing. Self-help groups were created. Microfinancing was taught. The village women were taught how to open a bank account, how to have an ATM card, how to take out money, how to make small like shops or anything. A lot of financial independence was brought in the village through our university. And you will also be surprised to know that in that university, it is BPS Women University. If you see it was a women university, and if you see the sex ratio, Haryana is known for adverse sex ratio, but the sex ratio in that village in which the university was located was 1,356 women for 1,000 men. Something mind-boggling. And the women literacy rate was 10% higher than the national and the state average. So these are some of the interventions which the universities can do in various fields, whether it is community engagement or SDGs or ESGs. So I feel universities have a lot to do, and the future of the university lies in their ability to embrace global partnerships for sustainable development. So with this, I would like to end my talk. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to take. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for such insightful session and providing all our participants the context of sustainability from higher education perspective. You have really given us a very detailed perspective and a food for thought to take this word, to make this world a better place to live. I'm sure all of the students will take your lessons forward towards the implementation stage. Before we move forward to the next segment of this session, at this summit, we would like to honor our most cherished and beloved mentor, Mr. Ranjit Shahani, who we believe is looking down on us from above. We extend our heartfelt gratitude for his priceless guidance throughout this summit in all our endeavors at Atlas. Sir, your legacy will forever inspire us, and we hope to keep making you proud. There are two questions, ma'am, I would like to take with your permission.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So one is from our student. The student asks, can students earn credits from new universities that are not yet accredited? Would those count towards stitching of a degree?
So the credits, every university has the power to award a credit. So universities have the power to award credits. But when we go to ABC concept, the flow of the credits is only one way. Means, for example, a university which is a grade university and a second university is a B grade university, then the credits can flow from A to B, but A will not take the credits of B. So it is a one-way flow of credits when you talk of a degree from a particular university, because see, the best university will not say that from a bad university, if you are, or not so good university, if you have earned a credit, we will accept that credit. So credits will flow one way, from higher to lower, not from lower to higher. But of course, if you go to another university which is lower than that or equal to the university from which you have earned the credit, then they can be transferred.
Thank you, ma'am. One last question I would like to take here from a participant. What challenges universities face while implementing SDGs?
So what all I spoke about, one is there is no awareness in the universities about SDGs. It is not included in the curriculum. The research is not being done. Many universities are not following or practicing SDGs on their own campuses. So all these are the challenges. And if a proper roadmap is there, if an action plan is there, all these challenges can be taken care of, and the universities can really contribute in realizing SDGs.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
The mindset of the teachers, the students, and the leaders has to change.
Thank you so much, ma'am. With so much of love, students have prepared a special presentation for you. With your permission, we would like to share that.
Thank you.
Please.
Thank you very much. It is so sweet. I think you should share a copy with me.
Sure, ma'am. Sure, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Dr. Varsha. And with this, we come to an end of the session. I would like to once again invite our Chancellor, Founding President Chancellor, Dr. Hindu Shani, and Pro Vice Chancellor, Professor Hina Thakkar, ma'am, if there are any last words or you would like to share a note before we close the session formally.
Thank you, Aditya. And thank you, Dr. Pankaj Mittal. An extremely insightful session on SDGs, their role in education, and how universities can bring about the most desired change in the country and to the world. We definitely pledge today that everything that you've said that universities can do, we will strive to do, and do it really with all heart and soul. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Thank you
much,
very
ma'am.
much. Thank you very much to all the participants and everyone for logging in and viewing this session. Once again, we've had an insightful evening, and we look forward to the next session. Thank you very much, ma'am, for being here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.